Hey, what's up, St. Luke's? It's Lindsay Moss. For those who don't know me, I am the church admin in the front office. And once again, I get the privilege of doing today's daily check-in. So hopefully you guys have been following along this week. Shannon and Phil and Catherine Ann, we've all touched on different topics over a theme of kind of, how are we going to walk together during all of this, especially as we're kind of getting into this gray area, this uncertain time as we're moving forward in all of this. And a few weeks ago, Reverend Phil sent out a email to youth parents, and the email was to inform parents and youth that the summer youth trips were going to be canceled for the summer. And in his email, he listed out all the reasons why, of course, this decision was made. And one of the things that he said truly resonated with me. And that is, he said, we're in this together. Now, for those of you that don't know, our oldest daughter, Sydney, she was born with a rare liver disease. And with her permission, I am going to tell you why those 4 words, "we're in this together," mean so much to me and to my family. So Sydney was born with this rare liver disease, and she had major surgery to repair her liver at 4 weeks old at Johns Hopkins. But statistically, we know eventually she will most likely need a liver transplant. And we don't know when that day is coming. Every day is a new day to get through, and every day that we can go is wonderful. And, I can remember when she was little, going to our pediatrician. We had weekly pediatrician appointments. And one time I went and I was armed with my, what to expect in the first year book. And I'll never forget the pediatrician calmly, nicely telling me, you need to get rid of that book because that doesn't apply to Sydney. She's going to have her own rules. And he was right. And Sydney, like many members of our congregation, are part of the high risk category with this COVID-19. And being this high risk category is not easy. And knowing that we are in it together is super meaningful to me. So when she was younger, those first couple of years were so hard. And the pediatrician was right. We had different rules, including she was not allowed to go into nursery. I had to stop work, something I had not planned on. I mean, I literally left my job to go to like a 3 o'clock doctor's appointment, and I never came back. And this applied to church nursery as well. And we were active members at Westminster Presbyterian Church in Alexandria, Virginia. And they were so great to us. We truly could have never survived the 2 years we were there with Sydney without that congregation. I can remember showing up to worship with medical equipment in tow and Sydney and getting out the door and knowing we couldn't put her in nursery. The women of the church, they made this space, and it was kind of like our library, but the sanctuary at Westminster had a side pews. And what they did was they opened up the doors on the back, and they put me in this kind of library with Sydney, and they brought in a rocking chair, and I could hear the service, and I could kind of see the service. And they made it so that we could still be apart. And I had women of the church that came and volunteered to sit with Sydney while I would go and sit with Stephen in the congregation as part of the sanctuary and be a part of that. I can remember for the first time being able to go to the mom's Bible study. Now remember, I had not planned to be a stay-at-home mom, so everything was new to me. And now we had this this baby that was really, really sick. You know, she was in and out of the hospital a lot, and I finally was so happy I was going to make it to this mom's Bible study that that met. And so I got Sydney loaded up into the car, and I got Stan in there, and Stan was what we lovingly called her feeding tube and her medical equipment. And it was, you know, it was just like what you see in the hospital. It was like this medical pole, and it had a bag of fluid that was constantly being pumped into her, and it was a nightmare getting that thing in and out of the car. So like, it was a commitment to go somewhere, and I was gonna do it. I got in the car, I got to the church, I got Sydney out, I got up to the floor where the Bible study was, and I walked in, and on the chalkboard they had written, "We went to the park, you know, meet us at the local park." And I went back down to my car, and I was struggling to get everything back in the car. And I remember Amy Upton, this wonderful woman in the congregation, came up to me. She could tell I was having a hard time, and she came and talked to me, and she said, you know, what can I do? And really at that moment, all I wanted was a hug, and that's what she did. And she embraced me, and she gave me the support on that day. And after that moment, that mom's Bible study, they made sure I never missed a Bible study. They checked in to make sure I could come, to make sure we didn't have doctor's appointments. They, you know, really became my support group. They did everything that they could to make me feel included, even as far as, you know, if there were other kids there, we would separate on blankets and put Sydney, we would meet in a really large room so that I could come and Sydney could be in another side of the room while other kids played on another part of the room. And I will be forever grateful to those moms and to that congregation. I mean, we must have had meals for months. We didn't have to cook. And it was such a blessing. I mean, it was so much help that anytime I can make a meal for somebody, I do it, because I know what a big help that was for us during that time. And I'm just telling you all of this because we truly could not have made it during this time without Westminster Presbyterian Church. I mean, to me, they are the epitome of what a church is supposed to do. They supported us, they loved us, they came to see us at the hospital. I mean, on the Friday before Sydney was supposed to be baptized, we got admitted to the hospital, and I knew, you know, we knew we would be there at least 48 hours. And so I remember calling the church office to tell them, I'm sorry, but we won't be at church on Sunday. And of course, now that I'm on a staff and I do the bulletin, now I feel extra bad about that phone call. But, you know, at the time, I was just letting them know that, hey, we're in the hospital again. We're not gonna make it to the baptism. And I am not kidding you when I tell you, within 30 minutes of making that phone call, another lovely woman from the church was at the hospital checking in on us, asking what she could do, allowing us to go get something to eat downstairs while she sat with Sydney. I mean, it was just this amazing support that we had, this family that we had up in Washington, D.C., because we didn't have any other family. And I will be forever grateful to them, because to me, like I said, they were the epitome of what a church is supposed to do. They did everything they could to make us feel included, because it can be a really hard road having a child with special needs. It can be very isolating. It can be very alone. And we never felt that way with Westminster. So fast forward 10 years, present day, global pandemic, and here we are. And the struggles of being a mom or parents of a special needs child, a chronically ill child, an immunocompromised child, they are still the same in normal life. But add in a global pandemic, and I am not going to lie, the stress level, it gets up there a little bit. So when all of this kind of got started in March, I can tell you that on March 12th, which is when the governor announced the school was closing, Stephen and I felt genuine relief. Because what we had been doing that week was filling out paperwork for homebound health services, meaning having Sydney stay home and receive education and teachers at home so that we didn't have to send her. And I mean, of course, you know how all that stuff goes, but there was a lot of coordinating with doctors and teachers and counselors and trying to get all that lined up so that it was in place if we needed it. And, you know, I felt the same relief when we got that email from Phil saying that youth trips were canceled and that we were in this together, because it's just super important. That is what a church community is supposed to be about. We're all supposed to be in it together. And, you know, as I walk this road that we have, it is hard to strike that balance of being the, you know, high maintenance, alarmist mom versus the proactive, doing the right thing kind of mom. You know, nobody likes a Debbie Downer. Nobody, you know, wants to hear a woe is me story, and that's not what we're all about. But I'm telling you, life for us is different. We have different rules for Sydney. I mean, we're still in stay in place with her. So as we see our neighbors and others getting out and about, it's hard. You know, it's hard to tell our kids why they can't go out and play with the neighbors, and it's hard to keep staying the course. And I think that that's what we're going to see a lot of as we continue down this road. And I am extremely grateful to the pastors at St. Luke's and to the session and the leaders of the church for making this "we're in this together" mindset. I mean, it's really who we are. And as much as Westminster Presbyterian Church did for us in the physical way, when we were all in person, this mindset that St. Luke's has come up with means more to me than anything, because I can't tell you how upsetting it would be if we had to make that decision about mission trips, about not sending Sydney because we were concerned about her health and having her miss out on something like that. You know, that is not fair, and life isn't fair. Like, I get it. But the fact that we don't even have to think that way because we have such amazing pastors and leaders at our church, it just means everything. It means everything to me and to our family and to Sydney. And it's not just about us, and it's not just about Sydney. It's about all of our members that are high risk. And it's about the members who may not be high risk, but maybe they're not comfortable, you know, getting back into it. And I'm just so grateful that our leadership and our pastors are making these hard decisions for us, because it does keep us all in this together. And as we keep moving forward, as we stay steadfast, because, you know, I think we're starting to realize that it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, and I am absolutely not above cliches these days. So it reminds me of running cross country back in high school, right? We had these t-shirts that our coach put out, and they all had like a different quote. But my senior year, we had a t-shirt and it had a couple of different quotes on the back. And, you know, one was like, "Team me," and one was talking about being leaders. But the last line was, "We will dance to the beat of our own drummer." And I really take that statement to heart in a lot of things that I do in life, especially, you know, I think about it with Sydney, but I also think about it in today's world. I mean, to me, it's kind of like the whole "you do you." And right now, St. Luke's is going to do St. Luke's. And I've never been more proud, and I've never felt more included and loved. And I just think that as a congregation, that's what this is all about. We're supposed to love each other. We're supposed to be all inclusive to each other. It's our charge. We're supposed to protect the weak and the vulnerable, and we're supposed to help those in need, and we're supposed to be there for each other. And I have seen that. I mean, how about a shout out to the COVID callers? You know, I got a call last night, and, you know, we're out there reaching out to everybody. And this time of isolation, you know, it's not a time for us to feel more isolated, because I didn't go to seminary, but I can tell you that that's not what Jesus would want, right? He wants us to all be included. He wants us to be able to be there together. And here's the thing, we don't actually have to be together, if you hear what I'm saying. Because we're doing things like weekly Bible online time, and we're doing Bible, you know, time on Wednesdays, and we're doing virtual trivia in a few weeks, and we're doing online worship together, which is for us become like just the highlight of our week. So we're still in this together, and we can continue to be. And I just hope that everyone remembers that when it gets tough, because it's going to, as we continue on this road, this marathon that we're now running, and we start to see other people and other places doing different things, remember, you know, who St. Luke's is and why we do what we do. And remember the Sydneys, and remember the high-risk people, and remember that we are in this together. So I hope that this made sense, and thank you for letting me share with you today. We can't wait to again see you on Sunday morning at 10:30, and just be in touch with us. And as a church family, I couldn't be more happier to be a part of this one. Thank you.